what the heck is with Best Buy, you know? You try to hold up a bag for comedic purposes, for suspense building, and there's not even a logo on it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my parents' basement, your parents' basement, our parents' basement, and today we're talking about movies. Recently, well, in fact, just got back from a Best Buy trip. I wanted to film stuff, Expedition Retail, where you follow me to the store basically, but Best Buy is one of the places where I don't feel comfortable recording, and especially today would be an example, because people were everywhere, the place was hopping, and of course they have security monitoring you at all times at the front of the store, so if you feel uncomfortable walking around with the camera now magnified by 100 and you know this entire store is pretty much looking at you wondering what you're doing as you walk around with the camera talking to it. But anyway, we're here in, well, our parents' basement post-trip, and I figured we'd do the, maybe not unbox them, but at least talk about each one, because that would be a lot of cellophane right now, just juggling around and throwing it in the trash. So I think we'll just do a quick talk about each movie, and then we'll move on with our lives. So anyway, guys, Best Buy is a great place. I love Best Buy very much. It's my home away from home. I go there often to buy Blu-rays. Obviously, one of the main things here is talking about movies. Movie enthusiast, much like probably the most of you viewers as well. So obviously going to Best Buy is an enjoyment because of their movie selection. They have one of the best ones around, at least where I live. But anyway, today I dug around in the $4.99 bin, the $5.99 bin, and got what I wanted to get, which was the main reason for going. But we'll start off with one of the items that I picked up along the way, not expecting to get, not even thinking that I'd find there, but I did end up getting it, and I did end up finding it. It's get off that reflection. It's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's the digibook. It's a digibook version of it. I've never seen this digibook before, and at $5.99 at Best Buy, it's really hard to beat. Normally, I think you can get it probably the regular Blu-ray for around the same price, so I figured it was a steal to get this digibook version of it. Plus, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is one of my favorite. Probably, out of every movie that I'll ever own, this is probably going to be the only musical that I own. I don't have anything against the musicals, it's just sometimes it gets a little draining to watch a movie and then all of a sudden, just as the plot gets flowing, you stop for a 3-minute musical and then, you know, start up again. Now, to be fair, there's some musicals that I enjoy, but whether owning or wanting to ever rewatch, I think this might be the only one. Grease is the only other one that pretty much comes to mind, but for now, this is the only one that I ever plan on purchasing, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. Probably the best musical, obviously, in my opinion, and Gene Wilder with a beautiful performance, and a performance not a lot of people talk about. Gene Wilder is a great comedic actor, and the subtle comedic things that he does in this movie is what makes it so rewatchable, and which makes this such a classic, not just musical, but a classic film. Alright, up next we've got Good Will Hunting. This is one of the true classic films of at least the last 20 years. It's Robin Williams in one of his fantastic performances, one of the true great performances of all time, and of course Matt Damon in probably the role and the film that started his illustrious career. The screenplay written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. They're both in this movie, and it is one of the true great drama films and one of the true great films. Everything about this movie is fantastic. Of course, Robin Williams, a wonderful performance, and one of my favorite Robin Williams performances, and one of his truly best, with a lot of great touching scenes, and just thinking about it, you know, gets a little tear welled up in your eye. It's a really beautiful movie, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. For, you know, just a movie that will definitely at the least connect with you, and at the most change your life. Alright, sticking with the life-changing drama films, we have Rain Man, starring Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. This is a movie that, there's a lot of movies that I discovered and I only got like 5 minutes in and then like, you know, didn't feel it, and then like later on I rewatched it in full, and this was one of them. I got about 5-10 minutes in, and I just wasn't feeling it at that time, so I stopped. It was on Netflix. I stopped watching it, and I eventually one night I had nothing to do. I came back to it, and I watched the full thing, and it was a movie that I finally was like, okay, now I see why I should have watched this in full and, you know, really given it a chance, because Tom Cruise is wonderful in this. Dustin Hoffman, of course, is fantastic. Really nice story. I wish there was more. This seems like a drama that would be remade and be a little bit better now. And it's not anything. The performances are lovely. The script is incredible. But I feel like Tom Cruise's character could have learned a little bit more throughout. Because, I mean, he does a lot in this movie and, like, doesn't really pay for any of it besides not being able to have, live with his brother. I mean, they count cards, he practically kidnaps him from this institution. So, I mean, I just wish there was more, like, consequence for the actions taken. But still, this movie is a really nice movie, a really good drama film, and, at $5.99, much like the other two, it's a hard one to pass on. Alright, the next film that I purchased for $5.99 is No Country for Old Men. Coen Brothers directed this. It is one of their best films. Definitely one of their most unique films. I'm a huge fan of the Coen Brothers. I love Fargo. Big Lebowski is great. And No Country for Old Men is no different. The thing I like about this movie is that it's different from not just anything that they have done, but as well as it's a story that is cat and mouse, and then like by the end, none of that matters anymore, and it leaves you kind of feeling, I don't know, like it's hard to describe, but this movie is a really good movie. I really enjoy No Country for Old Men. Probably, like, if I had to rank them, this would probably be behind Fargo and Big Lebowski. It's pretty close with Lebowski, but I think Fargo is by far my favorite Coen Brothers film. But this is still a really good movie that I enjoy watching, and sure, it makes you feel, you know, down, and it's a gritty film, but it is still a really fun movie to, well, not fun, but it's a good movie, and that's what movies are all about. Not every movie is going to make you feel good, not every movie is going to put a smile on your face, and sometimes you just got to own a movie that is so dark, gritty, and real. It's No Country for Old Men. Definitely a great movie. And now the reason I went to Best Buy. Those were the films that I picked up while just looking around. But these are the two that I went. Oh, gotta get in frame. These are the two I went for to get in mind. I don't know why, but I was just in the mood to watch these two. I own Blade Runner on DVD, but you gotta upgrade to 4K, so that's what I did. I got the 4K there. This is the final cut of Blade Runner. Now, Blade Runner, the original, is, it's November 2019 where this film takes place. So I think maybe that is what added to me wanting to watch these movies. Just get in the mood, because sometimes I put off a movie for as long as I can, and maybe get like higher priorities when you're just kind of starting off your collection. But I waited long enough, and I was finally in the mood to watch these, so I figured, you know, why not go? Blade Runner 2049 is probably one of the greatest movie sequels of all time, and Blade Runner is although not perfect, it is a classic film. So before I went off on that whole tangent, what I was trying to say about Blade Runner is that this movie is the final cut version of it. I think the first version I ever saw was Netflix. It was on Netflix, and the version had Harrison Ford's narration still in it. And I originally wanted to get a Blu-ray set that had all the different versions of the film. Even though, honestly, you watch a movie maybe like once, twice a year at most. So having like 5 versions of a film, like, what would that do? But I thought it'd still be a cool collector's piece. And a cool, you know, thing to say that you own all the editions of Blade Runner. But I think the Blu-ray is like $60, and it isn't on 4K, so I figured, you know what, might as well just go with the final cut version. That's the one I have on DVD, and that's probably one of the best versions. It gets rid of that narration of Harrison Ford, and it's just a really nice movie. But the thing about it is, the story elements get sloppy about halfway through, where it's kind of hard to start following. Well, it's not extremely hard to follow, but it kind of gets messy and jumbled up, and doesn't flow as well as it could, and that's I think the main problem with this film. There was so many different things that didn't like seem right, that they changed what they could, or Ridley Scott at least changed what he could, and then finally got it down in this final cut, which Blade Runner, with all its imperfections, with all its sloppiness, it's still a really good movie, and even the Harrison Ford narration version I like a lot. But Blade Runner, definitely a classic film, even if it is mistake-filled, even if it is, not the most perfect film. It's an imperfect classic, and I had to get it, with it being November 2019 and being in the mood and wanting to upgrade this and then get this other film. Sorry, I always wanted to do that. So, like I just showed, 2 minutes ago, Blade Runner 2049. Those were the reasons I went to Best Buy. I wanted to get these on 4K, and like I said, everything else was just by chance of finding some great deals and great movies. But Blade Runner 2049, this is, like I said, probably one of the best sequels of all time. This movie, it does what Blade Runner, the original, didn't do. It has a nice, more seamless, flowing story. It has a villain that is more villainous. That's more hate. That's more, you can hate him easier. And it's just a really good movie that adds its own elements, but also bases it off of the original still, and I think that's what makes it such a great sequel. And the crazy thing is, the original came out 30 years before the next one did, but it's great seeing Harrison Ford return for this movie. Ryan Gosling is one of my favorite actors. Drive is a fantastic movie. So it was. I just, with all this going on, with all what I've been hearing about it, I just felt like I wanted to get it, and I felt now was the perfect time. Because last year I was actually going to get it on, I was going to get a Blu-ray for Black Friday, but I ended up not, because the line was just too long, and I wasn't going to wait there for hours on end for 4 movies. So I ended up passing on it, and I feel like now is a good time. Now was a good time to finally get it, and well, here it is. I finally got it. Well, anyway, guys, these are my Best Buy pickups. There's just something about, I don't know if you can see it because of the glare, there's just something about going to Best Buy and just, grabbing what you see, grabbing what you like, grabbing what you want. And although some tough decisions have to be made, obviously you don't want to blow all your money in one trip to Best Buy. But it still feels good walking out with some good deals, and it still feels good walking out with some movies that you enjoy and that are going to take a nice spot on your shelf and, be watched. And as a movie enthusiast, as someone that admires and adores filmmaking, not just as, a huge, event that it is, but as an art, it's real nice to, just go and immerse yourself around these movies. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if you picked up any good movies recently. I'm going to have to go back to Best Buy because I want to pick up Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when it comes out on the 10th, but that's still, a little less than a month away, but that's still quite some time. We'll have plenty of content up before that, but still, if that interests you, come back for that. I will be here when it does eventually come out, all in due time, however. Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a like even if you didn't. Do whatever you feel like doing. Subscribe if you feel like it. I don't care. Actually, I do care. Anyway, guys, all that really matters is I thank you very much for watching, sticking to the end, and, going through these movies with me. Let me know if you like any of these movies, if you picked up these movies recently, if you already have them. I don't know. Let's have a nice little conversation in the comments below. We'll see you next time in Our Parents' Basement. Thanks for watching.